there is no better people to teach the Arabic language to a non-native speaking person than the Egyptians. Allah has given them a hiba, a gift to teach the Arabic language. The best teacher that I had when I was studying in the Arabic Institute in Medina was an Egyptian teacher. There is no comparison. Allah has given them a gift. This is their bab, their expertise. And so traveling to Egypt to learn Arabic is a no-brainer for anyone that wants to understand the Quran, wants to be able to comprehend the Quran, understand what the Imam is reciting. I advise them all, male and female, young and old, to go to Egypt and to study. The Shanaqita, it's well known that the Mauritanians, they will take a lesson and they will do it, make it very short, focused, so that you're able to memorize it and you're able to fully make a dhabt, completely understand and comprehend that lesson. 15 minutes, a short lesson. 15 minutes in another topic, short lesson. وهكذا.
So next we've got Shaykh Abdurrahman Muhyiddin.
Allah yarham. Shaykh Abdurrahman Muhyiddin.
Ameen.
Let's take a break.
Inshallah.
قل لي في الإسلام قولا لا أسأل عنه أحدا غيرك قال قل آمنت بالله ثم استقم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Ustadh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How's it going? You okay?
Alhamdulillah, bikhair.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair for asking. So, alhamdulillah, the previous time round, we covered a few of the scholars. And alhamdulillah, it went really well. So inshallah, we want to try and do it the same way we did it before, inshallah. You mentioned the Shaykh's name. And you can just, inshallah, tell us about the Shaykh. And maybe something you've benefited from the Shaykh. And possibly even some advices you may have for students.
Inshallah.
We've got here Shaykh Abdulaziz Ar-Rajihi.
Shaykh Abdulaziz Ar-Rajihi, hafidhahullah, he's still alive, alhamdulillah. He lives in the city of Riyadh. He teaches, if I'm not mistaken, every day or almost every day. He's plus 90s again. He's got a lot of works published. He's got like a mu'assisa, organization that prints his books, that takes care of his audios and the likes of those affairs. So may Allah Azza wa Jal bless him and give him a long life. And he's from the kibar of the students, from the major students of Shaykh bin Baz. He benefited a lot from Shaykh bin Baz, and he continues to teach in the similar style of Shaykh bin Baz, where Shaykh bin Baz would teach more than one book in a lesson. That was the style of the Shaykh. So the Shaykh, for example, 20 minutes, he will teach this book. And then 15 minutes, they will teach another book. And then 15 minutes, there's another book. And many of the great students of the Shaykh bin Baz, Shaykh Barrak, Shaykh Abdulaziz Ar-Rajihi, and others, they teach still in that manner.
SubhanAllah, what's the benefits that you can think of teaching in that manner? Usually what we're used to today is just one lesson, one lecture, one topic.
The Shanaqita, they used to say, or they still do till today, and I'm not sure if that's where Shaykh bin Baz got it from or not, or maybe it was something that the ulama of Najd used to do, I'm not sure. But it's well known that the Mauritanians, they will take a lesson and they will make it very short and focused, so that you're able to memorize it and you're able to fully make a dhabt and completely understand and comprehend that lesson. 15 minutes, a short lesson. 15 minutes in another topic, short lesson. وهكذا. So that's probably the greater benefit. Shaykh Khudayd does it as well. He does, I think the most he does is 2 in a lesson. But all these major students of Shaykh bin Baz, they do this. And this is, from the benefits is, you can get a lot more if you're teaching daily. So Shaykh bin Baz used to teach 12 books in a week. 12 books in 1 week. 12. So Shaykh Barrak, he's
almost twice. That's almost 2 books a day.
2 or 3, depending on which day it is. Some days he would be teaching in Fajr and he would be teaching after Maghrib, so it depends on the day and the likes.
So does the Shaykh only teach in Riyadh?
Shaykh Abdulaziz Ar-Rajihi, he used to travel likewise to Mecca and Medina once a month as part of like seasonal programs that he would be involved in. He used to go to Mecca a lot more often than Medina, but there was one time I caught him in Medina. He was teaching Fath al-Majid, but it was like a monthly seasonal type of lesson.
Okay. And this book Fath al-Majid, what's the book about?
Fath al-Majid is one of the best explanations of Kitab al-Tawheed. The grandson of Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, the author, Shaykh Abdurrahman bin Hassan, the grandson of Shaykh Muhammad AbdurRazaq, authored this book. And he completed the book, the explanation of the book from the beginning to the end. There's another book that is more in-depth, Taysir al-Aziz al-Hamid by Shaykh Sulaiman. But he passed away before he could complete it. And so it wasn't fully complete. But as for Fath al-Majid, then it's a complete book. And there's a nice explanation of Kitab Tawhid. It's probably the largest explanation, one of the larger explanations of Kitab Tawhid.
Jazakallah khair. So that was the fifth scholar that we,
No.
alhamdulillah, talked about. So we'll move on to number 6, inshallah. And we've got now Shaykh Saleh Al-Suhaymi.
Shaykh Saleh Al-Suhaymi, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, from the great scholars of Medina, who is kafif, he cannot see, he's blind. But Allah Azza wa Jal blessed him to be able to seek knowledge in Medina. He was born and he grew up outside of Medina, another city. And then he used to be able to see. And then an incident took place where his family was at. And he told us the story one time. If I remember correctly, it was something to do with a gun went off or something went off. And it caused the blindness to come. Him and another family member, both of them lost their sight.
SubhanAllah.
I'm not sure if it was the sound or the strength of the sound. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he lost his sight. So he was sent to Medina, and in Medina he was able to seek knowledge, and he talked about his story of seeking knowledge in a nadwa, in a seminar, or if you like, a get together in a book fair, Medina book fair, the annual Medina book fair. One of the years, he came and he was put on a panel with another sheikh that was blind, and the host was asking him questions about their seeking of knowledge and teaching and the experience and the likes of these affairs. So it was a really nice discussion, and he mentioned how he sought knowledge, how he would ask someone to read a book for him or to repeat it to him up until he memorizes something, the struggles that he had to go through as a blind person. And the other sheikh that was blind mentioned that he was a bit younger. He mentioned that he learned Braille, and they had like a device. By his time, they had a device where you could read books through the touching, which is specifically for the blind. So we have now in Medina, Mecca, if you go to the Masjid al-Haram or Masjid al-Nabawi, specific books for blind people, the Quran for blind people. It's called Braille or something like this.
Yeah.
And they touch it and they're able to read from the touching. Shaykh Suhaymi came before that time, so he never learnt that and he wasn't able to use these devices and the likes. So may Allah Azza wa Jal bless him. He teaches in Masjid al-Nabawi a couple times in a week. He's a professor in Islamic University of Medina. His takhasus, his speciality is in Aqidah. He travels a lot. He travels to Kuwait yearly to teach. He travels to Africa. He travels to Europe. He travels to different places. One time I had the opportunity to go to his house, and in that gathering, me, the Sheikh, and his friend, all he was discussing was da'wah and opportunities for da'wah and traveling to da'wah and the likes of these affairs. His main concern is giving da'wah and how he can give da'wah and where he can go to give da'wah and the likes of these affairs. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless him and give him a long life upon his obedience and allow the students to benefit from him.
I mean, you mentioned also in this tweet that he completed his master's in Egypt.
Yes,
What's the correlation between? I noticed a lot of ulama, they studied in Egypt
Ahsant.
and they studied in, of course, Medina after, or some even before.
Ahsant. So look, you have to remember they studied, this is many years ago, they're old school mashayikh. So Shaykh Abdulrahman Muhyiddin that we mentioned previously, and Shaykh Saleh Al-Suhaymi and others, there was no higher studies in Saudi Arabia at the beginning. At that time. Remember, Shaykh Fawzan was the first to do masters in the Imam Saud University. So anyone that came before him, there was no masters available or PhD. So the mashayikh, what would they do? They would go to Egypt, who already had the higher institute, higher education available. So they would go, they would sign up, they would study maybe a little bit, and they had to attend, and the rest they would do it from their homeland. They would go back to Saudi Arabia, and they're able to complete their thesis from home. So a lot of mashayikh used to do this intisab. Shaykh Ali Hudayfi, Imam al-Haram, he likewise did that, and others.
Of course, we notice nowadays a lot of students do go to Egypt to study as well. And some students, I think you mentioned before, maybe in a previous lesson, that some students, even before they go to Jama'ah, they might go to Egypt to study. And if there's something you can touch on slightly about Egypt, the people that are studying there at the moment, or if you know anybody that's studying there.
Jamil. So Egypt is the perfect place for a person that wants to learn the Arabic language and the Quran. There is no better people to teach the Arabic language to a non-native speaking person than the Egyptians. Allah has given them a hiba, a gift to teach the Arabic language. The best teacher that I had when I was studying in the Arabic Institute in Medina was an Egyptian teacher, the last semester. There is no comparison. Allah has given them a gift. This is their bab, their expertise. And so traveling to Egypt to learn Arabic is a no-brainer for anyone that wants to understand the Quran, wants to be able to comprehend the Quran, understand what the Imam is reciting. I advise them all, male and female, young and old, to go to Egypt and to study.
Not to say that there aren't also other great teachers that can teach Arabic.
La shak.
Of course. I think I remember one of the brothers was telling me that in Medina, one of his teachers was, I think, a PhD graduate in the faculty of the Arabic language, and he's from Nigeria, I think.
La shak. Arabic language is going to be many, but in the kamiyya, in the volume of people that are good at teaching Arabic, you can get 1 or 2 or 10, but the volume, wow, mashallah, how many Egyptians can teach non-native speakers? Look, there's a difference between teaching Arabic for Arabs, where you're teaching grammar and sarf and ajrumiyya and Alfi ibn Malik. There's great scholars in Mauritania, in Morocco, and Somalia, in other places where you can learn these ulum. But learning Arabic for Westerners, for example, where a Arab is teaching a non-native aslan, then there's no comparison. La shakka wa la rayb. This is something that Allah has given them a hiba for. So it's as long as the opportunity stands, benefit from it before it goes. How many times from when I was young, there were opportunities and places for a person to go to seek knowledge that are not available anymore. The likes of Yemen, from the best of the places when I was younger to go and seek knowledge, whether that is Damaj, Aden, Fiyush, Ma'bar, all of the different centers, in their tens, in their hundreds, they were. But now, after, sadly, the effects of the war and the things that have taken place, it's not safe any longer to travel. The option's out of the window now for most people. And so now Egypt is still a place where you can travel to and the option is still available. Benefit from it. Don't procrastinate. Don't say I'll go tomorrow. Don't say I'll go next year. Don't say I'll go when I finish X, Y, and Z. Go as soon as you can, because the option might not be available in the future.
SubhanAllah, to relate it back to how we began this conversation, the Shaykh was talking about, he's blind and he studied in Egypt at that time.
No.
And of course, we have the opportunity today to catch a flight. And SubhanAllah, with Allah's made it easy for us. And majority of us, alhamdulillah, we can see. So
benefiting from that whilst the opportunity still lies.
Of course, and if he was able to do it at that time,
why can't we?
Of course. So we'll continue, inshallah. So next we've got Shaykh Abdurrahman Muhyiddin.
Allah yarham. Shaykh Abdurrahman Muhyiddin.
Ameen. So you can see that I'm just reading exactly what you put on there, and SubhanAllah, he's quite the story. So I won't say anything, I'll just let you begin. And
let's take a break. Inshallah. Shaykh Abdurrahman Muhyiddin, rahimahullah ta'ala, rahmatan wasi'ah, passed away after I wrote the thread, around about a year and a half ago now, roughly. He was from the first teachers that we studied with privately. When I was in the Ma'had, one of the brothers, Abdullah, from the UK, Jazakallah khair, told us that the Shaykh is teaching privately in Masjid al-Nabawi after Salat al-Fajr. And so one thing led to another, and I attended a lesson, and I asked permission if I could continue attending his lessons, the private lessons, where there was only 5, 6, 7 students around him, behind a pillar. He would lean on a pillar and he would teach. So Shaykh gave me permission, and from that time I started attending. We did with him Qawa'id al-Arba'a, Usul al-Thalatha, and then we started reading Fath al-Majid, that big book of Kitab al-Tawheed that we mentioned, and we went through almost halfway through the book. He also had tafsir lessons in the morning that we used to attend sometimes. And he used to, the Shaykh Jazakallah Khair, he got his master's and PhD at an older age. He has a nice story of seeking knowledge, where he began seeking knowledge late. And then he wanted to study in the University of Medina, but he never had any certificates. And they said, no certificates, then you have to go back to secondary school. So he would be studying mutawassita with kids in Thanawiyya. Then after college, then he started university, then he did his master's, continued, did his PhD, and ended up later on being the head of Qism al-Sunnah, the faculty of Sunnah at that time in Kulliyat al-Hadith, became the head of it. Later on he retired, and he used to teach in the Kulliyah of the Haram. Masjid Nabawi, it has a university as well. He used to teach there a couple times in a week, and he used to work as well in Dar al-Ifta of Medina, where he would answer questions of the Hujjaj and the Mu'tamirin and the likes of these affairs. So Jazakallah Khair, he had a big impact on us, especially from the way he was, his actions and his ibadah and his consistency at that old age. I remember one time, before I started studying with him privately, one time we were walking and we see Masjid Nabawi and we gave him salam, hugged him, and he continued on his way. And one of the brothers said to me, he just had a surgery just 2 weeks ago. He had a clot and he had to get it cleansed. And 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, he was out, mashallah, back in Masjid Nabawi praying the daily prayers. He used to fast. What we knew from him, that he was very consistent upon from the day that we started his halaqat until the day that he died. He would be fasting every Monday and Thursday without a failure. Whether he is resident, whether he is traveling, wherever the case, he would always fast Mondays and Thursdays. Not only that, any day that was virtuous to fast, he would be fasting. The 3 white days of the month, the middle of the lunar month, he would be fasting those days. The months where the Prophet ﷺ used to fast majority of the month, outside of Ramadan, he would fast Muharram, Sha'ban. We used to look forward to those months because our lessons was based upon whenever he is in the masjid. So he would break, why? Because he would break his fast in Masjid al-Nabawi. Okay. So every Monday and Thursday he breaks his fast in Masjid al-Nabawi. That means he's going to be there. We can read to him after the lesson. He'll break fast. He'll come in. We used to sometimes wait for him at the door, the gate that he would come in.
Would you at least let him eat his food?
Of course, we help. We do khidmah for him. This is where we learn khidmah of the ulama. Is this sheikh? So from the moment he enters, there's not many students around him. It's not crowded like tens, or just like 5 brothers. We would come, help him with his shoes, put it in a bag for him, put it in a specific place, walk with him to the place where he would be having his tea. If he needs anything, water, get it for him, chair, anything that he requires of assistance.
May Allah bless you all.
And then after breaking his fast, the tea, shah, dates, yaga, whatever it was, and he would be with his brother. Shaykh was called Shaykh Abdurrahman, his brother was called Abdurrahim. And he used to attend the halaqat sometimes.
Was he younger or older than him?
I believe he was older than him. They were both old in age, but I believe he was a little bit older than him. But he was not a sheikh, he was a ami, but he would come and attend and whatnot. So after breaking fast, after praying, we would move forward up until we get to a specific pillar that we always used to sit at. The sheikh would sit behind it and he will have his tea and we'll get him some water and we'll read whatever he allows us to read. There was different brothers reading different things. We were reading as a group, 4 of us, those books at the beginning. There was another brother reading Umdat al-Ahkam. There was another brother, the reader of Shaykh Saleh Al-Suhaymi would be reading Muwatta Malik to him. So he would attend randomly. Whenever he attends, at the end he would be given time and he would read Muwatta Malik wa hakadha.
Would you be able to benefit from this at the same time? So you might go for your lesson.
Yes.
But you'll just wait, I guess, while they're finishing their lesson and benefit at the same.
Because there's only 4 or 5 of us.
Yeah.
They were there. No one's moving out the way or anything like that. Unless there's like the person reading needs to come closer, then maybe we'll make space for him. But other than that, you're in your same position. You can still hear all the lessons that are going on. So the khidmah, the reader would do things like, because he was older, he would do things like massage the sheikh's feet. To that extent, khidmah of the sheikh. And I would follow suit, and I started doing that. Then when I went back in one of the summers, I was massaging my mom's feet in a similar manner. I was like, how you learn this massage? It's like, it's not just knowledge that we learn out there. So, and I remember, Allah yarhamhu, when the Shaykh passed away, I was in Riyadh for 3 months. And I called my mother and I told my mom, the Shaykh that we used to massage his feet passed away. The one I used to tell you about. So she remembered and she made dua for him. So that impact of the khidmah that the students used to do for the Shaykh in mannerisms, and he would teach you manners as well, and how he was, and the character and the closeness, especially on the walks back. And he would talk about when Shaykh Albani came, and he would talk about things that happened. He would tell us stories like the famous Qari of Mecca, and he's from Medina that moved to Mecca later on to be the Imam, none other than, do you know who it is?
I think I know who it is. I've got the thread open.
Okay.
So I was going through my next point actually after.
Sheikh Ali Jabir.
Ali Jabir, you said that they talked about, I'll let you say about something to do with the motorbike.
Yeah, Shaykh Abdurrahman told us that he used to ride a motorbike he used to live, now obviously it doesn't exist anymore because the Masjid Nabawi courtyard has gone bigger. It's taken over some of the areas that used to exist. Okay. But he lived near the masjid. He used to take a motorbike to the university. He goes, sometimes he would take Shaykh Ali Jabir. And I believe he said that Shaykh Ali Jabir's brother or family member had a car back in those days. And so they learned how to drive together in the car park of the university. Because there wasn't that many students. He told us there was only like 400 students back then. The whole university. Now it's 16,000 students altogether. Okay. So there's a big difference between how many students were enrolled back then to where it is right now. But la shak, over them times, it was a lot more quality over quantity. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy upon those that passed away and those that still exist and those that are still studying in Medina, and bring khair from them.
I just want to touch on the point you mentioned that he went back into school just to get a certificate, you said, just to go to Medina University. Yeah. And he, I guess you could say, took one step back to take two steps forward. And did you say he studied with the kids, if I remember correctly?
Yes, he had to study in classroom with children, basically. Maybe there were some classes with older people, maybe, but generally speaking, the whole institute's for kids. And this is maybe a lesson for those brothers that maybe never got GCSEs in the West. And they want to now, they start practicing, they want to start apply to Medina University, these other things, but they don't have any certificates.
So GCSEs would be the international qualification you achieve from the ages of, I believe it's
16.
No, it's GCSEs you do from like 15, 16,
15,
right?
16 roughly.
Yeah, and in UK you
but in other countries they would do it at 18. Okay, so ala kulli hal, but whatever you need in order to go to a university, some people here in the West would be like, I never got any certificates. I wasn't focusing that time. I never really paid attention to it. It's not that they were not smart enough, very smart people, but for whatever reasons, they were busied. And so if a sheikh was in his 30s or 40s, went back to school to study with kids, I don't think no one's telling you if you want to go back to school, you have to sit with kids. There's specific institutes where you can still get private colleges, where you can do your exam.
You can do it in 6 months.
And you can still get your certificate in order to go. It's worth it if you don't have any certificate. Because I get this question a lot from a lot of students that want to apply for Medina. So take an example in Shaykh Abdurrahman Muhyiddin in that regard.
SubhanAllah. Jazakallah khair. So we've talked about Shaykh Saleh Al-Suhaymi and Abdulaziz Ar-Rajihi, and now your Shaykh that you studied from. May Allah have mercy upon him. Jazakallah khair for your time, and inshallah we can try and derive the benefits from the stories you've mentioned and the time you spent with the ulama. Jazakallah khair, Shaykh.